Hope everyone's having a fantastic weekend. I'm excited to close out Q1 today. And oh my goodness, April's right around the corner. So here we are barreling through 2026. I don't know about you, but 2026 has felt like just, I mean, it feels like it's moving at speed of light or whatever the fastest thing is, right? I feel like it's just going by so quickly. And with that, I want to do a check in and see where are you at. Look back at your goals of what you set at the beginning of the year, and let's do a check in and really focus in on what are you going to do differently in Q2. And we talk so much about this, but that's the reason for these calls. It's that accountability. You continue to opt in so you continue to get the results. All right. So if you're watching live, go ahead, just drop a hashtag live in the comments and drop a hashtag replay if you are watching the replay. And I want to talk about what is it costing you to continue doing what you're doing. And that's a hard question. You know, we spend so much time getting excited and writing the vision. We talk about write the vision and make it plain. We write our vision. We spend time really thinking about it, scripting for it, and really thinking about, okay, here I am. Here's where I want to be. Now, how do I get there? What's the gap? Right? We have to close that gap. And we set our goals as far as action steps. We always talk about the action steps because a goal without that plan in place, we've heard this saying, but a goal without a plan is just simply a dream. We're not really figuring out how we're going to get there. And so we talked a few weeks ago about being the eyewitness to your success and truly taking charge of it, having that accountability in place to understand what are the steps I need to take and implement so that I can ensure my success. And unfortunately, there's not one big action we can do that's going to ensure our success. There's no magic pill, there's no magic potion. It's little simple changes over time that create those lasting results. It's habit change, behavior modification, step 5 of the 7-step signature system. And unfortunately, the world we have come to live in is one of instant gratification. And this is why this is my theory. This is not scientifically proven. At least I haven't seen any studies on this. But it's harder now to stick to a plan when we're being inundated. I know, and I'm sure it's because my phone is listening when I teach these classes. And so I'm inundated with targeted ads for the medications and the cleanses and try this and try that and maybe this will work. And at the end of the day, while yes, some things can accelerate things and there's no judgment, right? But when we want to create lasting change, it takes hard work. And I think sometimes we get so caught up in the fact that, oh, it should be easy because guess what? Almost everything else in our life is so readily accessible. We get frustrated when it doesn't happen overnight, whether that's a conscious thing or not. Because, and I was just talking about this today with my parents, just the age of computers has really, it's great. Technology has been fantastic, right? We couldn't be doing this without technology. But has it crippled us? Because now we expect instant gratification, meaning you type something into Google, you get the answer. We order something from Amazon, it comes the next day, sometimes the same day, maximum 2 days later. And this is where I think we get so stuck when it's time to really grind it out and figure out the process. Because at the end of the day, and this is not meant to be mean in any way, but we didn't get to the position we're in where now we're wanting to make some changes. We didn't get there overnight, right? Jim Rohn says that it's those daily disciplines or daily neglect that get us to where we don't want to be. And so when we think about it, we create these habits. We all do it, right? I've been there. And I still have some habits that I probably should change, right? But at the end of the day, when we continue to try and take the easy way out, what we're doing, and I'm not saying anything is the easy way out. Let me be clear on that, but what I'm saying is when we decide to have a quick fix to an issue rather than make a lifestyle change or a lasting change, then that's we get in the yo-yo dieting wormhole, rabbit hole again. And I think about this a lot because I ran into this so much in my behavior analysis career. And most of you know, I don't work with clients in the behavior analysis world anymore. And I I just remember I used to get so frustrated with parents and teachers that I was working with because they would expect me to just come in and quote unquote fix the client. And that's not how it works. It took constant implementation of the program over time. Now, did things get better? Yes. It's the same thing with a health journey. You're not going to be trying to lose 30, 40, 50 pounds and not see any results, not see any results, not see any results, and then boom, 50 pounds gone. That's not how it works. It's that concept of 1 pound 50 times. And I think that's a really important concept to really understand, that it takes time. It's a journey. It's not a sprint. And when we think about the choices we're making, right? Think about where you've been at with your goals. What goals did you set at the beginning of the year? And then assess, where are you at with those goals? How far along are you? And guess what? If you haven't made any progress towards them, that's fine. You can start today making progress toward them. And you're going to see some changes start happening, but you're not going to get to the end result right away. And so I think it's more important to focus on the actual process. And here we go again. Trust the process. Because if we can fall in love with the process, and maybe you don't love everything about it, right? My powerlifting coach the other day said, you shouldn't like the workouts, the exercises you do during the workout. He said they should pretty much suck, especially when you have goals like I do with strength building and all that. He said that should suck. He said, but you should like how you feel afterward. And that's so true because it's not pretty. Being on a health journey is not always fun. It's not glamorous. It's not what you want to do, right? Because if we wanted to do it, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in. And so I think that's where we have to really dive into your why. You see how everything comes full circle. But you have to ask yourself, what is it costing you not reaching your goals? And sometimes the cost response, it has to be when you're thinking about it. Okay. So, what it was costing me not taking charge of my health when I first started this program was I was very unhealthy. It was costing me my health. And then I have to ask myself, what did it give me? What did I gain by achieving my goals? And guess what? I truly wholeheartedly believe it saved my life because when I got really sick, I was in the emergency room and the doctors and nurses were starting sepsis protocol because they said, I know you're septic. The labs haven't come back yet, but I know you have to be. And when it came back that I wasn't, the nurses were floored. And they're like, "We don't understand how you're not with the numbers that we're seeing in your blood work. We don't understand." But I truly believe it's because I was healthy other than the ulcerative colitis that, I eventually got diagnosed with. But because I was living a healthy lifestyle, working out, eating right, doing all the things, that wasn't an issue. And so that's what I mean by what is it costing you? And it may not be something as drastic as potentially costing you your life, but maybe it's costing you the confidence to show up and do the things you want to do. Maybe it's costing you the self-confidence to create relationships that you want to create. Maybe it's costing you just less stress and happiness and all that. So you have to really look at what is it costing you and you have to weigh that against what is it going to take to achieve the goal. And then I also want you to get very honest with yourself. If you do the things that you know you need to do to reach your goals, is it going to cost you your excuse of achieving that goal? Is it going to cost you that excuse of telling yourself maybe one day? Because we all like to think that, yes, we'd love to reach our goals, but how many of us are scared to actually reach them? And I want you to really think about that because a lot of times, and I'm not saying this is the thing for everyone, but a lot of times what I've seen is someone's health and weight and the way they look becomes their entire identity. And when it becomes your entire identity, that's why it is so important to do the mental work, the scripting, the what you think in conjunction with the what you eat and what you do. And I'm telling you why this is so important. Because if we continue to leave out the what you think and the mindset and the personal development there, then one, your mind never evolves to that person you're becoming. And so that's why we snap back. But then also, your subconscious feels like you're actively going against your identity, and it doesn't allow you to stay consistent with the things you know you need to be doing and you know you need to be eating. That's why it's so important that you're doing that personal development and the mindset work so that you can become, before you actually become, you identify as the confident version of yourself, the self that has achieved whatever goal it is you're working toward. Because until you do that, your subconscious is going to sabotage because it's protecting you. Because if you don't create the identity of the person that you're trying to become and you're working to become, then when you do the things that and take the action steps that move you toward that goal, you're going against the identity that your subconscious has created. And so maybe that's what you're afraid of, is losing your identity. But guess what? The amazing thing is we get to be whoever we want to be. We get to create whatever identity we want to create. And so create the identity that is the healthiest, most confident, most beautiful, most exciting, and enthusiastic version of yourself so that your subconscious allows you to follow your plan and continue to work toward your goals. All right. So I want you to really ask yourself, what is it costing you by staying stagnant? And what will it cost you if you don't reach your goals? What is it costing you by doing exactly what you're doing now? And maybe you're on the right path. Maybe you're implementing everything you need to implement. And if that's the case, that's great. So what it's costing you is maybe a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, a little bit of, I'm not binge watching, right? So the cost doesn't always have to be something that you don't want to do without. The cost could be, I've given these things up. And that's okay because they weren't serving me. And so what is it currently costing you doing what you are doing right now, whether you are on track with your goals or not on track with your goals? What is it costing you? And then what is it going to cost you if you don't achieve your goals? And then what identity do you need to create so that when you do reach your goals, boom, you're instantly in alignment with your subconscious so that you can fall right into place and start living that version of yourself. All right. So that is your homework. Send me a text message, put it in the comments, whatever it is, figure out what is it costing you and what are you going to do about it? And I will see you back here next Sunday, 7 p.m. It will be Easter. We will still be having class because the following Sunday, we will not be having class. So we will be here next Sunday, 7 p.m. You can catch the replay if you've got other plans with family or whatever for Easter. All good. Doesn't matter when you get the information, just as long as you are getting the information. I am so proud of each and every one of you for continuing to show up for yourselves and continuing to put in the work because, again, it's a process. It's a marathon, not a sprint, but you can do it. I'm proud of you for showing up for yourself and opting in. And I will see you back here next Sunday, 7 p.m. Have a great night, everybody. Bye.